Hi, it's Rita from the Arty Art Studio. So today we are going to be painting these beautiful autumnal leaves. So grab your paint brushes and let's get painting. I'm using watercolor paper, my Princeton size 4 brush and my Winsor & Newton watercolors. And I've also sketched out the leaves so I know the placement on my paper. So for the first leaf, what I'm doing is I've wet the whole leaf up and I'm adding sap green around the edges of the leaf. And then what I'm doing is I'm going around and I'm just blending the color towards the center. I will be dropping the color in all around the edges of the leaves. Now, make sure when you are wetting your paper, you do not want it to be soaking wet. You just want the paper to have a slight sheen to it. Otherwise, you're going to get big blooms on your paper, and that's what you don't want. So just a slight sheen on your paper, and then drop in the colors. So I'm using Sap Green, I'm using Cad Yellow and Winsor Orange here. I'm using the tip of my brush to just tap it in towards the edges, and they spread because this is the wet on wet technique. And then what I'm doing is I'm washing my brush, I'm drying it off on my paper towel, and I'm blending it in towards the center of the leaf. You might have to do this a few times, depending on how much pigment you're using. Gosh, I can't get my words out today. So because watercolor does dry very light, you will be better off if you're building the color slowly to get the color hue that you like rather than adding too much color and then you can't take it away. This next leaf, I'm doing the same process. I'm going to wet the whole leaf and I'm tapping some Alizarin Crimson towards the edges of the leaves. I'm making these seared as edges and then just blending it all towards the center of the leaf. Start off light, as I said, then you can always add color later on. Just going around doing these zigzags and just placing the color on the edge of the leaf. And then I'm just going to wash my brush, tap it off on my paper towel, and blend it in towards the center. You can add darker hues towards the bottom and some of the edges just to make the color slightly different. Just adding some in the middle here, and again just tapping it in, and I'm going to blend it out and just tap some more in at the bottom there. Yeah, and just keep going around until you get the desired shape that you want, and then you can just blend, go back and forth. You might have to do this a few times. You can always wash your brush, dry off, and lift some color as well. I'm going to let that dry now. This leaf, I'm using the same format. I have wetted all the leaves, and I'm going to add some sap green, and I'm going to add some yellow as well. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just leave you with this now because it is the same process and I don't want you to get bored of me talking about the same thing. So I'll let you enjoy this bit of the leaf and I'll come back to you when we start painting the next one. So we're moving on to the next one now, which is the maple leaf. Again, I am wetting the whole leaf up so it gives it a slight sheen, and then I'm dropping in the colors. I'm using Alizarin Crimson, I'm using a bit of Cad Red and Cad Yellow, and I'm just tapping it around the edges and just letting the color spread towards the center, just tapping a few spots in the center here and there as well, and just blending it with my brush and put it towards the tips and then let the color flow, and just go back and forth and blend the color until you're happy. So I'm just adding some red now, and again just letting it blend towards the center. I just absolutely love the way the color explodes on when you're doing wet on wet. It just looks so therapeutic and lovely and relaxing. I actually really enjoy wet on wet painting. So yeah, I'm going to carry on going around this, and I'm going to keep adding the color, spreading it out with the tip of my brush until I'm happy with it. So I'll let you enjoy this and I'll be back. Moving on to the next one. I think this is an acorn leaf. I'm not really sure what it is. It's slightly similar to the maple leaf, but yeah, I'm not really sure which one, what it's actually called. But I just loved it and I decided to paint it. Again, I'm using some Alizarin Crimson here and using the wet on wet technique where I'm wetting the whole leaf and then I'm dropping in the colors towards the edges and then I'm blending it all towards the center. I'm going to go back and forth and do this over and over. So I'll be back. Right, we're going to move on to the next one now. This is a very, very simple one. I actually do not know what this one is called as well. But I'm starting off with just a long stem and I'm making these little lines starting from the top and making it wider as I go into the middle of the leaf and then making it narrower as I go down to the bottom of the leaf. And then I'm going to darken some of the colors up with a bit more of a pigmented sap green and hooker's green mixed in, and just going back and forth and just making sure I like the shape of the leaf. And there's no blending in this one and there's no wet on wet, it's just a simple leaf, but it looks so pretty, so I decided to paint it. And yeah, just darkening up some of the leaves on either side. And autumn leaves are just so lovely to paint. I just love the vibrant colors and they just look so beautiful. I'm just checking to see they're all dry now, and I'm going to go back to the first one now. I'm just going to go back and add some more deeper hues because I feel that it dried a bit lighter here. So I'm just going to do that for a little while and I'll be back. I'm going to go round and do this to all the leaves because I do feel that they've dried a bit lighter. So enjoy the process and I will be back. So now we're going to add some stems to these leaves. I'm just using burnt umber and burnt sienna, making the stem thin at the top and just thickening it out a little bit as I go lower down. Try and curve your stem of the leaf to give it some movement, and make sure that it is following the flow of the leaf. So I'm just going to go and do all the stems now, and then we'll do all the veins. For the veins, I'm going to be using the same color as the leaf. So for instance, this is going to be an orangey color that I'm going to I'm going back in with a deeper hue of the burnt umber, adding a touch of sepia as well, just on one side of the leaf, making it a bit darker to give it some depth. I'm going to go around and do that to all of the stems, sorry, not the leaves. Yeah, just deepen them up a little bit, give it a bit more depth, and make it darker where you feel it needs it. So I really hope you enjoyed this autumn leaves tutorial and you will paint along with me. Do follow me on all my socials to see what's new in the studio, what I'm painting, free tutorials, and please like and share and subscribe to my channel so I can bring more free content to you for you to enjoy and paint along with me. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.